Now tuned into the greatest.
The Run with Manny Wilson podcast.
The Run, the Manny Wilson podcast.
The best sports podcast there is.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today. I appreciate you tuning in to the first interactive sports podcast, a community that makes sure your voice is heard. So if you hear something you agree with, you disagree with, you like, you dislike, or even if you just want to outsmart me, go ahead, shoot us a call. 219-413-9405. Let's get into it, man. Obviously, NFL playoffs. We got to touch on all of that stuff that's been going on. The NBA is here. Some big things done happen. So let's go ahead and kick it off right now. In the NBA, the Indiana Pacers have made some changes with their roster. Now, the Raptors, they traded with the Pacers and received Bruce Brown, Jordan Noah, and 3 first-round draft picks in return for all-star forward Pascal Siakam. Now, this is a hell of a deal. I'm happy for both sides. I think it's kind of a win-win. You got one side and the Raptors getting a bunch of draft picks, which is going to be huge in their rebuilding process. And then you got the Indiana Pacers who are adding Pascal Siakam, who really, really makes them complete. And I think personnel-wise, from the Indiana Pacers, man, they already could hang with just about anybody in the league prior to Halliburton getting injured. But now you add Pascal Siakam, and it's like, damn, they become a huge level threat in the East right now. I really think this boosts them up a couple of tiers from where they were. If they were competing with the best of the best without this guy, you add him, and only thing you get rid of is Bruce Brown. Oh, they are definitely on another level. They're definitely on another tier. Now, Siakam, he adds a couple of different things. He adds some extra layer on the scoring total, rebounding, and also defending. Because he's a very lanky defender. He's like 7 foot, I'm pretty sure, or 6'11", whatever you want to categorize it as. Pretty much, either way it goes, he's 7 foot. Because if you're 6'11", that's damn near 7 foot. But with scoring, it's going to be huge for the Pacers because you already have Halliburton, who's a great scorer, and you have Buddy Hield, who's a great scorer as well. But he adds another layer to this because he can score inside out. He can shoot the ball a little bit. He got some post moves that's good as well and still very much effective. And if you definitely need him to, he can for sure make a mid-range. But it eliminates any type of one-dimensional play within the Indiana Pacers. And that's why I do love this trade, because it also helps spread the floor. You add another guy on the roster who is unselfish and another guy who is willing to make that extra pass to get a teammate open, to help another guy, and just play his role ultimately. One of the best things and the best ways for a guy to transfer to a team and get traded and play and assimilate to a new team is just accepting and embracing the role of just doing whatever it takes to win. This is why I say some stars are very, very easy to play with. And I think Siakam is one of those guys who will be easy to play with, especially on this Indiana Pacers team. But it's not just the scoring where he helps them out, because rebounding, they are boosted up a lot in rebounding already without him, but you add him along with Obi Toppin and Miles Turner. These guys can play huge if they really wanted to. If they're going up against a team and they want to play bully ball, you can throw Siakam at the 3, truth be told. Keep Obi Toppin in and add Miles Turner in there to grab every single board that comes off the rim. They get a lot of leverage here with Pascal Siakam because, man, he's 7 feet and can run, can jump, can move, and also can defend, which is my next point here. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5. Maybe not be able to stick with your guard the whole entire time, but he can hold his own on an island against a guard who's trying to score him. So that adds a lot of value here. So I'm loving this trade for the Indiana Pacers. And man, this is huge. This is going to be really, really good for them. They were already a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference, but Halliburton got hurt. So now I'm curious to see how things are going to change. Everybody in the Eastern Conference is very, very close right now. So it'll be interesting to see what this team is going to do. I mean, you do lose Bruce Brown. which is going to be a huge pain. And I think anybody who loses a player like Bruce Brown will feel that type of impact, because the way he was is he's an impact player. He's going to give you energy. He's going to change the momentum of the game. He's going to change the entire dynamic because of the effort he brings on the floor. He elevated his game to a tremendous level offensively, was able to shoot a little bit better, was able to score a little bit better. So you will feel that slight difference, especially coming from the guard position, because we know a lot of times it's about guard matchups depending on who you play. But Bruce Brown, he's a solid defender. That's a high IQ guy. And it's going to hurt losing him, but I think it's definitely worth the return getting Pascal Siakam. So I'm looking forward to seeing this team, though, and the Pacers' new look, man. They have a very, very diverse team, so it'll be cool to see. Hey, who's the favorites? Who's the favorites now in the East? You got the Celtics. They still got their new look with Porzingis over there. Philly, I don't take Philly too serious still, because they just got Embiid, which is a huge thing to have, but a huge guy to have on your team, because you know how impactful he can be. But it's a lot of different teams in the East, so it's going to be interesting to see this. But look, I got a side note here, quick side note before we move on to the NFL topics in the news. Bally Sports, they were bought by Amazon. So Amazon, they are acquiring a minority stake in Diamond Sports Group, more formally known as Bally Sports. Now, this deal will allow sports fans to stream Bally Sports game on Prime Video. So they are moving to Prime Video, which is crazy to me, because, you know, these NBA games, NHL games, MLB games are once free at all. At one point in time, they were all free. You could just cut the TV on, go to your channel, Fox, CBS, NBC, whatever the case is, and watch these games. But now everything is requiring subscriptions. And it's kind of frustrating, truth be told. Like Prime Video, they already have NFL Thursday Night Football that they do. And they have Peacock. NFL is also doing with Peacock now. They have a deal going on with them where they just hosted their recent playoff game in the NFL. So there were people who loved their favorite team, watched NFL every week, but they had to subscribe to Peacock in order to watch this playoff game, elimination. So it's like, it's crazy, because I understand why the NFL and these networks are doing that, because, you know, people get rid of cable. They're no longer really sticking with a cable company, so they don't want to keep their contracts sticking with the Fox and these basic cable companies, because, I mean, nobody's going to watch it. But damn, ultimately, it just makes me think like, well, why not, you know, have your own NFL channel? There's NFL Network that people could watch on cable, that I used to watch on cable. NFL Red Zone obviously is a separate subscription, but why not just start NFL channel or whatever you want to call it, and then just have your own little platform where people can watch the games? Because right now you got it mixed between so many different platforms, Prime, Peacock, HBO, all of these different networks. And it's almost, to me, like you don't know where your sports fans is really using to watch these games. You don't know how many sports fans are on HBO Max and they want to stick to HBO Max, or how many guys are on Peacock and only want to use Peacock or YouTube TV. Like, it's so many different networks, and it's like, okay, I get it, but can we bundle it? like, can we bundle it into one to make sure, like, I don't have to buy a whole separate subscription to watch the Chiefs game? Like, this, it's crazy to me. So, you know, it's a weird thing, but I think it's going to be a huge mix up now that Amazon Prime is acquiring Bally Sports too, because Bally Sports is more than just it's not even NFL, but it's more than just NBA. There's NHL, MLB, NBA. I believe there's like tennis. It's Bally Sports. They got a lot of different sports under contract. So it's going to be huge for Amazon Prime. But, you know, it's just an interesting thing there. So, you know, I had to get that off my chest. But anyway, look, man, go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. If you have anything you want to share, if you just want to say your opinion, maybe it's something I said. Maybe you disagree with my Pacers take, or maybe you think somebody is still better than the Pacers even after this trade. Go ahead, shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. We got some news coming up, and also we have NFL. It is the playoffs, so you know we got to touch on all the NFL games that are coming on this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So we'll take a quick break. It's halftime, then we'll jump straight into the news. Let's do it. It's halftime. All right, and news for the run. Let's get into it. The NBA, the trade alert is here. The Toronto Raptors have agreed to a trade involving their all-star forward Pascal Siakam. The Raptors, they traded with the Pacers and received Bruce Brown, Jordan Nora, and 3 first-round draft picks in return for Pascal Siakam. That's amazing. And according to ESPN, Kyrie Irving had a strong interest in joining the Lakers to reunite with LeBron. It was reported that Kyrie pitched the idea prior to joining the Dallas Mavericks last year. And here's all sports news. All sports. Amazon is acquiring a minority stake in Diamond Sports Group, more formally known as Bally Sports. This deal will now allow sports fans to stream Bally Sports games on Prime Video. Going over to the NFL, the Eagles' 6-time All-Pro and future Hall of Famer Jason Kelce has officially retired from the NFL after losing to the Buccaneers in the wild card playoff game. It was reported that Kelce told his teammates he'd be retiring. Kudos to him for a hell of a career. That man is a legend over in Philly and a legend in the NFL, one of the best centers to ever play the game in the NFL. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, they're still looking for a new head coach. Jim Harbaugh is the latest name to have done an interview with the Falcons per multiple reports. But check this out. Bill Belichick, who was interviewed prior to this, was brought in to interview again on a second interview. So Bill Belichick is interviewed twice, and they're saying things are heating up even more with the Atlanta Falcons making Bill Belichick their head coach. I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with that. As a Falcons fan, I think I can accept that. But although things are not solidified that Jim Harbaugh will leave Michigan as their head coach, it's said that Harbaugh wants immunity and protection in his contract from potential NCAA findings with the University of Michigan. Very, very interesting. Now, the Dallas Cowboys will not fire their head coach Mike McCarthy despite the big blowout loss against the Green Bay Packers in this year's wild card playoff game. And quarterback Patrick Mahomes will be playing his first ever playoff game on the road as the Chiefs take on the Bills in Buffalo this upcoming Saturday. Now, all of 15 Patrick Mahomes playoff games have either been in Kansas City or the Super Bowl. A couple of good games you want to take a look at this NFL Saturday. The Ravens, they'll take on the Texans in Baltimore this Saturday, and the Chiefs, they'll battle out the Bills in Buffalo. Now, Sunday night games is going to be a little bit different. You got the Green Bay Packers. They'll be testing the 49ers in San Francisco, and the Detroit Lions will most likely beat down on those Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they battle it out in Detroit. Now, the Chiefs and the Bills game. This is a great game. I'm super excited about this. We've seen these teams match up multiple times throughout the course of history, meaning like the past 5 years. We've seen these teams match up a lot, and it's been a hell of a game each time they've matched up. Now, I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game because the Chiefs, they've been beating down on the Bills year after year ever since this Patrick Mahomes era. And from this season, the Bills have been wishy-washy, bro. They've been very, very inconsistent, partially due to injury throughout the season. But even when they've been healthy, I've seen some inconsistency within Josh Allen, the quarterback. I've seen some inconsistency within that offensive line protecting Josh Allen. So to me, when it comes down to close games and these games that I've been watching with the Bills, it always looks like they close out games very sloppy compared to these teams who are elite and teams that they claim the Bills are competitors to. So I can't stand behind them in confidence knowing that, they play the Kansas City Chiefs, a team who knows how to close out games very well. And also, the Chiefs D-line is good. They're good. We've seen what they did last week. And I can't help but to think about, when they have to go against an elite defense, a team that's a top 5 team in sacks, and the offensive line is going to bring that inconsistency trying to protect their quarterback, Josh Allen. Like, I get the Bills. They've won 6 straight games, and I'll wrap up in a sec, but they won 6 straight games, and they played some solid teams, but a lot of these teams that they played, it's been some trash closing out in these games. They played the Chiefs, and they beat the Chiefs earlier, I think it was a couple weeks back. It was earlier, week 9, I want to say. They beat the Chiefs in week 9. And Chiefs had a big play that actually could have won them the game, but they lost because it got called back on a penalty, which I thought was bogus. But that's just an example of like, okay, you have the momentum, you were up, you were winning, you just got to solidify it by getting one stop. And they could not do it. They could not do it. You go back to the Chargers, that was also a close game a little bit ago. And, I mean, they gave up 9 points in the fourth quarter when they pretty much had it in the bag. So, to me, it's like, you know, I've seen these different guys go against the Bills and these different teams who are good go against the Bills. But each time, it's like teams are either hurting themselves in allowing the Bills to win or on very much an out-of-pocket experience. I've seen the Bills actually man up and win some games on their own. I'm not going to completely discredit them, but, you know, typically it's more so the team losing games than the Bills actually winning games. So this one makes me a little concerned here, but I am anticipating a great pass rush from the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll definitely get to Josh Allen, and ultimately I think they'll win this ball game here. But best believe too. I don't want to forget this. Best believe I'm counting on Josh Allen to at least give the Chiefs 2 interceptions, because this is what he's been doing all year too. 1 week he looks solid, and then the next week Josh Allen on the Bills is just like, is this the guy we were seriously arguing is a top quarterback right now? So I've been seeing that all season. So to me, I'm predicting he's giving the Chiefs at least 2 interceptions this game. Let's see it, but we don't know. We'll find out. Now, the Packers and the 49ers, this is going to be a good game here. And I'm going to go with the Packers to win this game. I know it's like kind of weird to do that because the Niners have been dominant all season. They've been really, really beating on teams all season. But I don't think the 49ers will thrive when this becomes a close game, if it becomes a close game, because I don't think Purdy can handle these situations. As I've said before, Brock Purdy is not that guy. Because in clutch situations, he's folded time after time after time. Usually they don't get in these clutch situations because they are blowing a lot of teams out. But times when it happens, where they're going down to the wire and have to win a game, Brock Purdy is not that guy to count on you to win this game. Because in the game that I remember when he had to win and he had to make some throws in order to get his team downfield, 2 interceptions and 2 opportunities to give his team a win. I don't like it. I mean, he's not really thriving if Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel aren't catching quick slants and turning them up for 40 yards to a touchdown. Other than that, Brock Purdy doesn't do much, man. He has a blessing. He has a blessing of a situation that he's playing in right now, and he gets a lot of credit for it. And I mean, he does make some good throws on occasion. I've seen him go off at times, but ultimately, I mean, if the Packers can contain Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, which is a tough task, I definitely got the Packers winning this game. Because Brock Purdy isn't going to get it done on his own to throwing the ball downfield every single play or every single drive. I don't think it's going to happen. If Deebo Samuel and McCaffrey can't turn these 5-yard slants and 5-yard swing passes 35, 40 yards, it's going to be bad. But I think the Packers actually got this one, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, but last thing here with this game, 49ers, they better hope Jordan Love don't come out slinging the ball, because if Jordan Love come out throwing the ball anything like he did last week, it's going to be bad, because that man was getting the ball downfield. He was very accurate, and I mean, they got a great O-line. I'm going to go with the 49ers to lose this game. Packers are going to end up winning this ball game here against the 49ers, despite whatever Vegas is saying and despite who's the underdog or not. I'm going with the Packers to actually win this game. Now, the Lions and the Buccaneers here, the Lions are going to win this game. Lions are simply just more talented than this team, both individually and also as a team. I think as great as the Buccaneers have been playing lately, they won't be able to stop the Lions offense. I mean, the Lions are going to put the ball in the air, even though they have a great run game. Bucs are pretty solid at defending the run. So that's cool. So they may be forced to throw the ball in the air, but we've seen that the Lions can put the ball in the air and do it very, very effective. And then the Buccaneers, this would really, really scare me if I'm going for the Buccaneers. They're 28th in yards allowed passing per game. 28th. They allowed almost the most yards in the NFL passing wise. So to me, Oh, this is a dub for the Lions. This is a dub for the Lions for sure. They're about to beat down on them. I'm anticipating the Lions to matriculate the ball downfield and effectively beat the Bucs by scoring and trying to keep, like, just staying ahead of the Buccaneers, man. Like, it might get ugly, truth be told, especially if the Bucs can't hang on the scoring total. It very much might get ugly because only weakness that the Lions have is really their secondary, but the Buccaneers aren't really a huge threat in flying the ball downfield like that. So I would be very surprised if the Buccaneers won this game, but I'm going with the Lions to win this ball game. Now, my last game here for the matchup is the Baltimore Ravens and the Texans. Texans have been on a tear. CJ Stroud played an amazing game against the Browns last week in that wild card playoff game. Ravens, they're coming off of a bye week because their record was so good. And, you know, I hope it's a fun game ahead of us, but truth be told, I'd be lying if I didn't choose the Baltimore Ravens and didn't think the Baltimore Ravens was going to win. But I'm hoping that the Baltimore Ravens really beat down on them. So we know the Baltimore Ravens, they're a solid team. And in theory, when someone already has beaten the best team, they shouldn't be worried about beating opponents who aren't even in the conversation. Typically, the Houston Texans are not in the conversation of being the best right now, but we've seen Baltimore dominate good and both bad teams. We know what they bring defensively and offensively. Tremendous play. That defense is one of the best in the NFL right now. And typically when they're on their game, they're solid all around. So they got to lock in against the Texans. The only thing that kind of concerns me is that they did have a bye week, and sometimes people can get relaxed in that resting period, knowing you have a week off. So it'll be interesting to see, but I absolutely need Lamar Jackson to get this win. And I need Lamar Jackson to get a Super Bowl, bro, because despite, you know, the Lions even being there, I of course would love to see the Lions go to the Super Bowl, but I almost want Lamar Jackson to win even more. And I'm going to tell you why. So Lamar Jackson, bro, the way he is, this man is from Broward County, I believe it is, Broward County, Florida, or something like, you know, or Dayton, Broward County, you know, he's from the slums, bro. The NFL ain't never seen no quarterback like this win a NFL Super Bowl. Like, there's been black quarterbacks that won. People can say Patrick Mahomes won. You can say Russell Wilson has won, which those guys have, and they do identify as black African Americans. But when I say with a black quarterback like Lamar Jackson that nobody has seen, I mean, the way he wears hair, his environment that he grew up in. I mean, the way he carries himself as a man, like in a good way, obviously, but just in a way that where he's not going to change and alter who he is as a person in the situation that he grew up in just because he has this platform. Like, Lamar Jackson is going to inspire a whole generation, even though he's already done so. But I mean, a whole generation of the way the game is played, because people typically assume when your hair looks like Lamar Jackson, when your skin looks like Lamar Jackson, when you grew up in the environment that Lamar Jackson grew up in, they typically assume, oh, bro, he can't win a Super Bowl. He's not going to be as good as a Josh Allen or a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. So this is part of the reason why I need to see Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl, because I mean, he has to prove everybody wrong. I'm cheering for him to prove everybody wrong, because we have not seen a quarterback from his situation and quarterbacks that's similar to his situation thrive to the standard that we're kind of upholding him in right now. We've seen type of guys from slums win MVPs. We've seen Michael Vick win an MVP. We've seen Lamar Jackson already win an MVP. Patrick Mahomes done won multiple MVPs, but Lamar Jackson, dad ain't playing the league. Lamar Jackson, I don't know this for sure, and I don't want to assume anything, but from the area he grew up in, a lot of people grew up in a single-parent household. The people who are coming from a marginalized situation is important, and they don't really get to this stage of the Super Bowl and actually winning as a quarterback. You see players that do it, but not as a quarterback. For years and years and years and decades, there's been that narrative of, oh, the black guys can't even play quarterback. They're not smart enough to win ball games at quarterback. They're not smart enough to lead a full team. And yet, we see how that's been changing. Obviously, again, you see the Jalen Hurts, the Pat Mahomes, guys like that. But in terms of someone who is coming from this type of situation and carries himself in this type of manner, meaning if you seen Lamar Jackson on the street with him and 3 other people because of the way they wear their hair, you might get scared. Like, we don't really see a quarterback who looks like that go to the Super Bowl and win and stand on the stage holding a trophy. We don't see that. So this is why one of the reasons why I really want to see Lamar Jackson win and go to the Super Bowl leading the Baltimore Ravens, because even once he wins the Super Bowl, the conversation is going to slowly change. It won't change from, oh, well, Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the league that we have right now. It'll still be, oh, well, Patrick Mahomes is better and Josh Allen still may be better, but it'll at least remind people like, well, Josh Allen ain't got no damn Super Bowl. Brock Purdy ain't got no Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts ain't got no Super Bowl. Like, all of these other guys, Kirk Cousins ain't got no Super Bowl. All of these other guys that people put in front of Lamar Jackson because of the way he looks, like, it won't happen as often, and you'll be able to remind them. But this will change that whole narrative of Lamar Jackson just being an afterthought behind Patrick Mahomes, and an afterthought behind Brock Purdy and Josh Allen and all of these other guys in the NFL. So to me, those are big reasons why I have to see Lamar Jackson win this Super Bowl. This Super Bowl for Lamar Jackson, I almost want him to win more than I want the Lions to win and more than I want any other team to win right now, even though I would love to see the Lions win. But if it ain't Lamar Jackson, they got to be the Detroit Lions. I put it that way. But look, hey, go ahead. Shoot me a call, 219-413-9405. Maybe you ain't like what I just said there. Maybe you disagree with the narrative of Lamar Jackson and need to tell me or educate me on something. Let's hear it. 219-413-9405. Go ahead, shoot you a quick take or just drop your opinion. But until then, man, follow me on Instagram at The Run Podcast. And you can follow my personal as well at I am Manny Wilson. But, however, we'll be back later on next week. And so on and so on and so on.